Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. So apparently, some of Dynamite has been announced for this coming week, and I saw this match get announced, and I thought it was a joke. So we've got a trios match coming up in Detroit on Wednesday. It's Ricochet teaming up with the Young Bucks against Swerve Strickland, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And you may be asking yourself, it's like, Mike, what's your problem with that? Guys, have you not been paying attention to the last 2 weeks? This is literally the same variation of a bunch of different guys teaming up together. It was 2 matches 3 weeks ago. Then it was that insane, 8-man all-star tag. And now they're just doing another variation of that to get through another week of television. This is exactly why I have such an issue with AEW booking. Because, yeah, is this match going to be fun? Sure. Is it going to be a bunch of empty calories and a popcorn flick? Yes. And that's the problem. Why not have story? Why not have something? Like, okay, Young Bucks and Swerve have issues with each other. Why do they need to have a match? Like, we all know what this is leading to. It's going to lead to either blood and guts or anarchy in the arena or both. That's what's happening at Double or Nothing because they're doing a world championship match on the following week's Dynamite with Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley, which admittedly I think should be pretty great. Hopefully it's going to be the best because Jon Moxley's world title run has sucked. So maybe Samoa Joe can kind of, get a good wrestling match out of, Jon Moxley for whatever this is. But I look at this, like you go back a couple weeks, what? Young Bucks faced Kevin Knight and Speedball in a tag match. And then Ricochet face Mark Briscoe. Then last week, you've got Ricochet, Young Bucks, and I can't even remember who the fourth guy in that match. That's how insignificant it was. But yeah, you have Ricochet, the Young Bucks, and I like I said, I can't. And Okada. Go figure. I forget about Okada. And then they're taking on Kenny Omega, Speedball, Mark Briscoe, and Kevin Knight. And so basically, all you're really doing here is taking one of those guys out of the match on each side and inserting Swerve. That's really all you did here. That's all you did. It's lazy. It's lazy. Like, it's almost like Tony Khan is just like joking around with us because at what level are you going to basically like use your television product? I understand it's where the best wrestle, but at some point, just doing these bullshit matches just where you're going to do a bunch of flips, which will be fun because people are like, oh, it's PWG with a, major stream. Guys, that doesn't draw. That doesn't draw. People aren't interested about that. They want to be interested in characters. And the people that you put in this match, Ricochet is a jackass. The Young Bucks are channel changers. Like, I like Speedball as a wrestler, but what is he? The Karate Kid. That's basically what his gimmick is. Mark Briscoe, I love to death. But that guy keeps losing, and he's just basically the designated guy to take the fall. Ironically, 2 weeks ago against Ricochet, he beat him. And then there's Swerve, who I love to death, but, Swerve, clearly he's in this whole Young Bucks hunting thing, and Swerve wasn't even on television last week. Wasn't even mentioned. So why should I care about this? Like, I saw this, and I was like, man, you've got to be kidding. It's almost like there's like an AI generator in... It's almost like AI, and I don't even, maybe AI could come up with something better than this, or Chat GPT. I don't even know what's but it's almost like there's like some automated generator that Tony Khan just hits to book his matches and doesn't even want to write, creative promos or something, or doesn't want to do, talking segments. I know that's something that sickos don't want to hear. You need promos to get you through week-to-week stuff. It can't just all be pre-tape stuff. You got to do stuff in the live audience, and you've got to do something to the crowd so that way you can break off these matches, because otherwise you're just going to tire your audience out with wrestling. I understand it's a wrestling show, but also what exposes this is literally this is almost a variation of the same match that they have done the last 3 weeks, because there's the same particular people involved in this. And what does this accomplish? What you're going to get to, blood and guts or anarchy in the arena, which we knew was the logical way that this was going to go in the first place, because you could see it from a mile away with just a bunch of people interacting with each other. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And everybody gets mad at me when I just tried to pinpoint the obvious shit about this, but this is lazy. This is the type of shit Vince McMahon would do. He would book the same match 3 weeks in a row. The same exact match. It's almost like Tony Khan is just forgetting, or he's just trying to rearrange the furniture so that it seems new, but it's not new. We've seen the Young Bucks interact with Speedball. We've seen the Young Bucks interact with Ricochet. So what are they going to do? The hair spot again? We've seen Ricochet against Mark Briscoe. We've seen the Young Bucks interact with Swerve on a variation, in a variety of different ways. You don't need to do a wrestling match to get your angle to the next phase. And that's what I think is the problem with this place. They are leaning way too much into being wrestling when part of it is entertainment. It is entertainment. And I know you're trying to differentiate yourselves from WWE, but part of what, part of what makes WWE work is they have characters and people that are genuinely interesting, and they can do stuff without their wrestling ability. I understand that Ricochet is great, and he's kind of molded himself into this jackass heel, which on some level I give him credit for. I think he's selling it a little bit too much on the internet, and maybe that's exactly who he is. Some people think I'm getting worked, but I don't think so. The Young Bucks are jackasses. We've been through that. And then, like I said, you're just throwing Mark Briscoe in there just for the sake, hey, we need a guy to take a pinfall. That's not restoring the feeling. That's not restoring the feeling. That's just lazy booking. And, you can't, and it tells me you can't come up with creative to, put your talent in a way to, advance a story in a different way. Because when you're literally doing the same variation or a different variation of the same match over the course of 3 weeks, that tells me that you have no creative plan whatsoever. You're just delaying the inevitable and getting us to the point. And it's just a matter of who the teams are going to be in Anarchy in the Arena. Because I think it's going to be a 5-on-5. I don't know who it's going to be, but they've done like the Ops seem to be involved. Like you've got the, Ricochet and you've got Ricochet, you've got Swerve, you've got all these variations. Kevin Knight's involved. It's just, guys, like on some level, you have got to give me something that is more of a story than just a wrestling match. Like I said, listen, from a wrestling perspective, this match should be freaking awesome. It's going to be the same, just guys flying all over the place, killing each other and doing crazy shit. Some people will call it a gymnastics routine, and some of it is, but, it'll be entertaining, but it's a popcorn flick. I'm not going to remember anything from this match after I watch it on Wednesday. And that's my problem because, like I said, I've already seen this match like 3 weeks in a row. And again, I go back to it. Everybody was mad at Vince McMahon 4 or 5 years ago. I was mad at it because weeks of Raw would go by where we would literally see the same two people get in the exact same one-on-one match for no reason whatsoever other than Vince forgot what was going on. And Vince is a senile, old man. Sick man. What's Tony Khan's excuse? He's a mark. He's not old. He's just a mark. So he's like, yeah, I'll just throw a bunch of my best wrestlers in there. People think it's a flex. It's like, guys, it's not a flex when you can't come up with something new and different every single week. So that's why I needed to be critical of this. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.